Is it a foregone conclusion that the 19th century belonged to the UK, the 20th century belonged to the US, 21st century belongs to China?
Yeah, I actually don't think so. You know, you look at the Chinese economy right now. It grew at 9.2% last year. Now it's in low single digits. The March numbers
We're at 2%, by the way. 2% in this country. They're slowing down in China, but still doing much better than we are.
We have a stable economy, though, and there is sudden deceleration. The March numbers that are just coming out just show a deterioration, even from the January and February period, which wasn't too good. So, you know, right now you've got an economy that's faltering. The Communist Party is splintering. The authority of the central government is eroding. You know, nothing's going in the right
direction. I think
direction.
most Americans aren't watching this. And I know you actually lived in China. Your dad was the ambassador to China. But there's amazing changes happening within the Politburo, right? Within the Communist Party structure happening right now. And does it favor democracy in China, or does it favor you know, the status quo in China?
Well, no. What's happening, I think, is that the Communist Party leaders, they're starting to this intensified fight among themselves. Whenever that happens, China always falls back. You know, this is the Cultural Revolution that Premier Wen Jiabao warned about last week. And we see the leader of the country issuing these calls to the military to remind them that they're subordinate to the Communist Party. This is not a good sign about what's going on.
Well, I did spend the last year in Beijing, and we can't forget that, you know, we still are well ahead of China when it comes to income per capita in our country. We outspend them still 5-to-1 on defense. But they do have some real challenges ahead. And I wanted to ask you what you think the biggest challenge is. Is it, you know, the lack of freedom, the lack of free speech they have? Is it the environment? What do you think will be the biggest challenge to them when it comes to their economy moving forward?
Well, the biggest challenge to the economy is that all of those factors that created growth over 35 years either no longer exist or are disappearing fast. And you have this at the same time that the Chinese people really want to have rights. There is this rights consciousness, and the Communist Party has been intransigent in preventing, you know, the Chinese people from sort of expressing themselves.
And also the blogger world there. I mean, it's huge right now, but, you know, they're having a really hard time getting their voice out. I mean, they get blocked.
Well, and the government is trying very hard to identify who those bloggers are and make sure that they can shut them down.
And they can do it. Can I ask you a question? You talk to the administration, you talk to foreign policy advisors in the Obama White House, and they will point to their China policy as one of their great successes. Do you see that? How would you judge it compared to other presidents?
Well, President Obama's pivot to Asia, I think, really is a move in the right direction. He started out with an initially very conciliatory policy and then had to adjust because countries in the region along China's periphery demanded that the United States show a little bit of leadership because they're concerned about China's new foreign policy arc, which really is quite hostile in some cases, more than just assertive.
But is this more talk?